Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2018 action thriller The Bouncer, also known as Lukas. Now this is a film that is directed by Julian and it stars Jean Claude Van Damme. Now I'm wanting to do a top 10 list of my favourite Jean Claude Van Damme films. However, there's one film in his back catalogue that I've wanted to see since it was released, and that is this film, The Bouncer. Now, apart from a lot of his B movies and straight to DVD type movies that he's done over the years, I've not seen that many of those, but this got quite a lot of attention when it was released. It's a dark action thriller, not really very much like films he's done in the past, and he got a lot of acting plaudits for this film, and it was really nicely received by many people. And what is this film about? Well, this film focuses on Jean Claude Van Damme's character, Lukas, who is a bouncer at a local nightclub in Europe. However, he loses that job due to some altercation with a customer. He has a dark past. He used to be a bodyguard in South Africa, and he went on the run with his daughter from there after something that he did in retaliation to his wife's death. So he's basically given an ultimatum by the police: work for us or you're going to jail. And by that they mean the new job he has got working at a strip bar. The guy that runs that strip bar is a money launderer, money counterfeiter should I say, and they want Lukas to feed them information of how he's doing what he's doing and when and where the exchanges etc are taking place. So basically he has no choice but to work with the police on this. However, it all begins to escalate, and his, and in particular his daughter's welfare becoming at risk, and he's got to try and figure a way out of this impossible situation. So that's kind of the storyline that we get here. Now, for those of you used to watching a Jean Claude Van Damme film and seeing him jumping up and down, flipping, doing air kicks and doing all these magical martial arts moves, you may well be disappointed with this film. It is not a Jean Claude Van Damme film that you are used to. I think this film perfectly gives examples of how Jean Claude Van Damme has matured as a performer and an actor, and I think this is arguably his finest performance in front of a camera. It's reserved, laid back, confident, relaxed, intense. It's everything that this performance needed to be. Now there's two versions of this. You can watch the foreign language version because it's not a traditional English speaking film, so there's a foreign language version with subtitles, or you can watch the dubbed version, and it's up to you which you prefer. But either way, even in the dubbed version, it's Jean Claude Van Damme doing his own voice in the dubbed version, and it's obviously him in the non-English speaking version doing that as well. So what you actually get here is a fine performance by Jean Claude Van Damme, a really mature performance by him, and it really does show that he has matured as an actor when you compare it to some of his earlier roles. So I really do applaud him for this film. I think he does an absolutely excellent job as this vulnerable but very skilled individual. There are some really intense fight scenes here. There's one in particular where he auditions for the job at the strip club, and there's about half a dozen fighters in a basement, and the one that's left standing gets the job. Bit of a Fight Club moment, I suppose, and that was pretty intense, realistic, brutal. There's a few other scenes as well where it's rather than the action taking centre stage, it's the tension that takes centre stage, and it's those situations of how is he going to get out of this? He's in an impossible situation here, and especially there's a scene where his daughter is put at immediate risk, and you see his fear, if you like, in regards to that. So it's a really interesting film. It's very dark. It's not. It doesn't hold your hand or anything really. This movie. It's a really dark film with some gritty, realistic performances by everybody involved, and it's not got any kind of Hollywood gloss on it or anything. It's very much a Euro film, if you like. It's nicely lit, it's dim, it's dark, but it's also the inside of the nightclub scenes. It's got these bright lights, a retro feel and look to it. So it's got a nice contrasting style in the way it looks and the way it feels. And the soundtrack as well I thought was pretty impressive and impactful. It's an all-round package here. I'm not going to go on record and say this is a perfect film, but I think in regards to Jean Claude Van Damme, it's probably about as perfect as he's going to get, I think, especially these days. And I'm hoping that he is given the opportunity to do more films like this. At his stage in his career, I think he's now proven that he can certainly act now. So let's have more of this, please. I will be very, very happy to see films very much like this going forward from Jean Claude Van Damme. So let's see what we get. I'm sure we're probably still going to get some of these straight to, DVD B-movie type things that he's going to do. But I'm really, really impressed with this film. It's a really, really good film to watch. Some great chemistry. I believed his relationship with his daughter. I always think when he's acting with children, and there's another film I really, really like of Van Damme's, AWOL, Absent Without Leave, otherwise known as Lionheart, where I think when there's a child at the centre of the story, you see a tender side of Jean Claude Van Damme, and that is on display again in this film. So I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10. It's a really good film, really well made, and it's a high point, I think, of Jean Claude Van Damme's career. Certainly in regards to his acting performance, definitely. So that's my review for The Bouncer, otherwise known as Lukas. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and of course I'll see you back for more reviews on Screen Stars.